I'll now recognize Mr. Gosar for 5 minutes.
Thanks, Chairwoman. Ms. Miller, you described the COVID process as a catastrophic event with a high risk of fraud. I agree. I am the only non-U.S. president in the United States to have ever killed a national emergency. I killed COVID. But there's not a single receipt, though. And since Bill Clinton through Joe Biden, we've spent over $13 trillion, let me say that again, $13 trillion without a receipt. Could we use AI to examine the funds spent under COVID?
It depends on where that data is available. Certainly, AI can be used to mine any data sets that exist. The question I think you're really asking is whether or not that data exists, and I don't have the answer to that question.
Well, I hope that we'd have some database because we have a record of where it went, supposedly. So
Well, yeah, so we have a record of where a lot of the spending went, and of course the Pandemic Response Accountability Committee, the organization that I helped lead, has a lot of that data on their website about where money was spent during the pandemic. When a lot of that money was stolen, something I talk about a lot, we don't know where that money went. A lot of the money that was stolen during the pandemic went to overseas foreign adversarial nation states.
So they also could have, how should I say this? If they were recouping, my understanding there was over 2,000 cases in Arizona alone that entities or individuals were actually sued by the government to get it back, resulting in compensation of over $300 million. We could use that as well if it disappeared. Once again, it's based on the data, right?
Yeah, it's based on the data. I don't think I'm qualified to answer that. Thanks.
Okay. Mr. Shaw, you talked about our procurement system. Boy, it's broken. So how would you use AI during that whole process? Because our overruns in our military are outrageous. How can we keep them on track? How does that work?
Yeah, I think there's a variety of things to talk about on that topic. One, you can use AI to help with the procurement process itself in terms of analyzing vendors, summarizing submissions, generating use cases and requirements for the different agencies that are looking for new technology. But I think before that, we need to sort of create an environment where these new technologies that can be applied to procurement or anything else in the US government can make their way into these agencies. And I think that's a human process problem that we have an opportunity here in this committee to really kind of provide some oversight and correction so that we can go about delivering these great new technologies into these agencies quickly, right? We've spent years working on this ourselves to try and get into agencies. But if you look at a lot of these procurement, sort of processes, they're multi-year, they're outdated from the 1990s, where essentially, you're thinking about installing software on some server rack that's going to last 5 years, and then it might take 2 years to actually go through the procurement process. This is untenable for young companies who have limited cash, limited capital, who want to be able to monetize their investments and especially help the U.S. government move quickly.
So could you use something like a blockchain? See, I'm not a techie. I got questions. Could you use a blockchain to kind of utilize some type? I see you. I'll come back to you in a second, but I want Mr. Shaw. Is there some kind of technology that will help preserve some of this data or save us?
So we do not deploy blockchain technology for our solution. We focus squarely on what employees can benefit from when it comes to using AI to be more productive. So I'm unfortunately not able to answer how blockchain could be used here, but generally speaking, technology has been shown in the private sector to have tremendous impacts on their efficiencies and their ability to stay ahead and to lead in the industry.
Yes, Ms. Miller, I got one more question for you. Could you use AI to audit Medicaid, Medicare, and comparisons with hospital versus hospital?
Yeah, that's a very, very good use case for AI because you can look at, there's a lot of claims data and there's a lot of information on providers, and you can look at all that data using AI very quickly and identify patterns that look suspicious. It's an area that I think really is ripe for a lot of innovation in the space because CMS has the opportunity to really mine a lot of that Medicare and Medicaid data using artificial intelligence to identify taxpayer dollars that are being stolen.
Gotcha. Well, I'm out of time. I yield back.